In this video I'm going to make a new shelf for the back of my SUV here. I love having a shelf in the back. I have one right now. It lets me sleep in the SUV and still have a storage area above my feet there. The shelf that I have is made specifically for Toyota RAV4s. That's what I've got. It's made by Toyota, but not everyone has a RAV4. Also, there are some changes that I want to make to the shelf itself, and so I decided to build a shelf both to show you guys how to do it and also to have some improved functionality for myself. This is the shelf as I currently have it. It's basically some aluminum rods that fit into a couple of holes in the inside of the SUV. And I added a wooden shelf to it, and I added some PVC supports to it. The top of the shelf lifts up, it hinges, and I can put stuff underneath there. There's a mesh net, and this is where I store my clothes usually on my trips. So I can have a lot of storage up here and inside, but then still have my feet underneath when I'm sleeping. Here's the back with the shelf removed, and I've folded this seat forward to show you where I sleep. I've taken some measurements here and made some little schematics. And these are the materials. So I've got 3 1x2s. They're 8 feet long. And then a big plastic bin, 3 small plastic bins, some zip ties, and some tools here. Got a drill and some drill bits and a screwdriver and some screws. I'm not quite sure how this is gonna go. I have a rough idea of the design, but I'll probably change it. And so I'm just going to build the thing and then show you the finished product and then show you how I made it. Okay, here is the shelf about an hour and a half later. I'm going to add this piece of plywood that I had on the first shelf to the top, but before I do that I wanted to show it to you. Basically it's just made out of a 1x2 frame with 4 legs. And then there are crossbars holding up the plastic bins. So these are sturdy. The shelf itself, as it is, isn't the most rock solid thing in the world. It will move around as I drive, but I'll try it like this, and then if I need to I can add more support pieces later on. So let me go ahead and add the shelf. And here it is with the top on. The hinge system is pretty simple. I just drilled a couple of holes and used some zip ties. So now it hinges like this. And from the inside, I can lift it up and access whatever's in the bins down there below. At some point in the future, I'll probably get a wider piece of plywood for the top here that goes all the way out so that this part isn't exposed, but for now, it works. Let's take a look at the feet here. The back feet are just on the floor, and then the front 2 feet are in this kind of pocketed section, built-in plastic section. I suppose I could have moved the legs over here and brought them down to just outside this pocketed section, but I thought I would try this, give this a shot to give myself a bit more room down here when I'm lying down. I've been working on it for another maybe 15 or 20 minutes, and I've made a few more little modifications. I had some, I think it's 1/8 inch closed cell foam, this gray stuff. And so I wrapped the foam around the edge and then wrapped some electrical tape around it to keep the wood from scratching the interior. I did that on all 4 corners. And then to make it a little bit less wobbly, I added this bracing piece right here that keeps the legs from moving too much. I don't have enough wood to make a second one, but I will add one to the other side once I get more wood. But it dramatically improved the stability of the shelf here. And overall I'm really happy with how this has come out. There's about 13 inches of space between the bottom of the bins here and the bottom of the SUV cargo area, and so that's plenty of room for my feet to have my feet under here while I'm sleeping. So that's it for the basic shelf. I hope that was helpful. I'm gonna go on a 2-day trip later this week, and I'll use the shelf on the trip. And I'll make a quick little update video and tag it on to the end of this video to tell you how the shelf performed and any other modifications that I've made to it. So it's a couple days later now. I'm on a trip to the West Desert of western Utah. Very cool area. But as far as the shelf goes, it's been working really well. I couldn't be happier with it, really. Let me show you how I'm using it this morning. I'm using it as a table for cooking. It's at a good height for me to access when I'm standing. I can also use it when I'm inside if the weather is not so good. Here on the back, this is my shower rod, shower pole setup. I've just attached it to the back using these gear ties. You get these at Home Depot. And then let me show you what I've done on the inside. I would lift it up to show you everything I have in there, but I guess you can kind of see it there. Got stuff in that larger bin and then these two smaller front bins. And then the neat thing about making this out of wood is that I can just kind of bolt stuff to it, screw stuff to it as I desire. So here I've got my knife screwed on, and then I've got this little plastic thing, which is a soap container from Walmart. It was $1, and I put my earplugs and my face mask thing that I use when I'm sleeping. On trips in the past, I never really knew where to put those things. I had them in a little plastic bag, but I didn't know where to put the plastic bag. And so now just having that little box dedicated solely to those is a great way to do it. And so overall, I'm super happy with it. It's perfect. Like I said earlier, I do want to get a new top for it, and there, you know, who knows, there are probably other tweaks and changes that I'll make in the future, and I'll probably update you on those in future videos, but for now, super happy with it. And you can definitely make one. You definitely should make one. If you camp and sleep in your SUV, this is a really great way to add more space and more functionality to your setup. As for costs of building this, I think the large plastic bin was $10 at Walmart. The two smaller plastic bins were $1 each. The 1x2s were $1.08 each, and I had 3 of them. I spent probably $2 or $3 in getting screws, getting the hardware. I already had this, but I think it was probably about $10 cut from a larger piece at Home Depot. The zip ties or cable ties, I already had those. I guess if you wanted to buy them, you know, you could buy a pack for $1 probably at Harbor Freight, or $1.50, or at Walmart. The foam and electrical tape, I don't know, I mean, another $1 or so. But that's it. Pretty inexpensive, and again, I really couldn't be happier with how it's turned out.